So I do help them. I do give them all special deals that I don't think any of the national companies would have, but yet when they have money, I get that money as well. So most people are really, really good to work with if you can work with them quickly. So I do think that that's my reputation, that I'm able to make things work very well, or at least I handle it well as my team. I've taught my whole team how to do that.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
All right, Debbie, thanks for joining us today on Business Ninjas. We appreciate your time. Thanks for stopping by.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
So if you could give us your full name, your role in the company, the name of the company, and the website.
Okay. My name is Debbie Banko. I'm the founder and CEO of Link Technologies. The corporate name is Link Tech LLC, and the DBA is Link Technologies. We started 22 years ago, actually a little bit before that. It was 22 years ago that we became an LLC. I was strictly working as a DBA about 6 months prior to that.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And maybe give us a little bit of well, first of all, where are you based?
Las Vegas, Nevada.
Las Vegas. Okay, great. And maybe you could tell us what your career arc was that brought you to forming the company.
I used to work for recruitment advertising firms back in the mid 80s, early 80s, and basically we ran high-tech job fairs all over the country looking for hundreds of engineers for the likes of Northrop and Hughes way back in the day. We also did recruitment advertising and had a couple of magazines that we sold recruitment advertising for. So kind of started in that world and had been in temporary services for a while. And I thought, it's got to be better than this. This is an awful lot of work for very little money, right? So I got into IT, took that company and kicking and screaming into IT, and boy, they loved it. And then I went to work for an IT consulting firm with both staffing and project work available. So I worked there for about 6 years, and then moved to Las Vegas from California, Southern California, because I had relatives here and I was a single mom with 2 daughters and felt like I should move here for quality of life. I worked for a company for another 5-6 years and then decided to open up my own firm. I was only going to do it for a short period of time. I had a couple of contracts that I knew would just work with me. And so I did that because my youngest daughter was 14. She was riding horses in the rodeos and I wanted to go with her, right?
Oh, cool.
So I would take long weekends and I made as much money as I needed to make. And then all of a sudden it started to get bigger. And so I went out and quickly my daughter became drivable age, right? So we got her a car and she started driving herself around. And so then of course they don't need you anymore, right? So I went out and I found myself a partner. My first partner was someone I had worked for before years ago. And he gave me money without any signatures or signed contracts or anything, and just to help me through. And then we created a partnership. And then as we grew and got office space and set up books, and I had help with accounting and things of that nature, and banks, that kind of thing, I eventually had to find another partner because I really needed more help than what my first partner was able to give me. And then comes in my partner that I currently have. We've been together 20 years or so, and
Oh, wow.
he's a great guy and we love working with each other, and I owe almost everything that I've learned about finance, CPAs, attorneys, all the professional banks, all the professional people out there, because he was a man of means and had a lot of experience with those types of things. So from there, we built the company to what it is now, just under $20 million.
Wow, that's amazing. And I wonder what the original vision was when you launched the company. What were you focused on providing to your customers at the time, and then how has that changed in the ensuing years?
Well, I started out primarily project work. I had some consultants I'd worked with for years, and we were doing a lot of development work, smaller kinds of projects that lasted 6 or 7 months with deliverables on it. And then I kind of got in with the federal government and did a lot of rollouts of all the Dell computers and Outlook and all that type of thing. And I ended up doing that all across the United States because I provided them with a PM free of charge to make sure that I got paid on time. Right? So we came up with a plan on how they needed to do that with every Naval and Marine Corps base. And
Wow.
so they took us kind of all over the world, really, mostly the United States, but we did do some work in Guam, a lot of things on the back East Coast. I needed to get a security clearance, so I needed to get offices, and I needed to have someone who had the wherewithal on how to get money. How does the bank give you money? How do you get money? That kind of thing. And so the in came Ted. We bought out my other partner for what he put into it, so he didn't lose any money. And we set things up between myself and Ted the same way. I didn't want to cost anybody any money, and we've done fairly well. We did okay through COVID. We managed to keep things going through COVID. We did lose some very key people during COVID, as a lot of people in my industry has. And
Right.
we've now rebuilt better than ever. I mean, I just love the team that I work with now. So I believe that we're going to have a really fantastic year. But in answer to your question about the vision, then we started out with project work. I ended up with glorified staffing in a project kind of environment. And we kind of decided that that was quicker money. I got my security clearances. I now hold top secret and Q. So we do a lot of work with the DOE and the DOD, and that's kind of how it started. And now we do both project work as well as staffing, and both are really growing very, very strong.
Wow, that's great.
Mhm.
And what was the sort of the COVID era like for you to kind of help your customers through that time? Those were, I guess to a certain degree, it's still trickling through. Maybe not as much for business as it was back then, but it was go from 0 to 60 in terms of pivoting your business. So what was
It
that
was
like?
pretty scary.
Yeah.
We don't do a lot of marketing here. I'm a more of a relationship person. So most of the companies I work with now have CIOs that I've known for 20 years, right, in different capacities. So most of our business just comes in through the phone, which is a great spot to be. And when the phone stops ringing for 2 or 3 days, you're all just looking at each other going, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? What's next? We really didn't have a lot of work to do, right? When they kind of closed down a lot of the county, state, city places, the casinos, that type of thing. We lost 37% of our business in one day.
Wow.
And the people we had working outside on consulting gigs, even on project work, were all canceled. And then something strange happened about 60 days into it, 45 days into it, we started getting a lot of calls. I was being asked, how long can I float the money? And I was in pretty good liquid shape. So we would give them some extra time to float the money and, just different things like that. But because we were able to do that so quickly as a locally owned and operated company here in Las Vegas, I think that really got a hold of the market share pretty quickly. Right?
Wow. Mhm.
Yeah. So now we can continue to have that. I've got a great team. We're expanding that team. We also had started an MSP where we did help desk, knock, and SOC. Because I was asked to by a couple of companies. And it really got very busy during that time. People just wanted to outsource their IT. So small to medium-sized companies. So that is growing. We do have and have had a security firm for many, many years where we do the ROC, the SAQs, the vulnerability assessments. And because we were still working with DECA, which is the division of the US government that supplies all of the products to the Navy, the Marines, the Army, and so on, all of the above, the Air Force. It was a very big deal. So we were still working on that project, and that started springboarding many of our other security projects. So all of those things have really started mature, and they're growing, as well as the staffing. So we're doing a really, really great job. Mhm.
Wow, wow, wow. And what, I mean, to a certain degree, it's kind of a crowded market out there. So it sounds like you've got great word of mouth, reputation going on. How else have you kind of separated yourself out from the competition?
Customer service, the ability to spin on a dime. I mean, when I worked for other companies doing this, I was always in trouble because I was always making special deals for them, right? And now I see the wisdom in not having special deals from a back office standpoint. But I also see the same wisdom that I saw before in trying to help these people when they had the need to lower your margin and do whatever. And I have the control of that. So I do help them. I do give them all special deals that I don't think any of the national companies would have. But yet when they have money, I get that money as well. So most people are really, really good to work with if you can work with them quickly. Contracts as well. I can modify the contracts if they make sense to me and my attorney. And it's just a much easier process. Also, I do not pay commissions. I think that in particular on the staff augmentation on the high end that we do with project managers and business analysts and business continuity and disaster recovery folks, security folks that are very expensive, I think that we're able to come above by not paying commissions. We pay really good salaries, and we pay bonus based upon how well the company does as a whole, and how well you do in terms of being a team player with everyone else. No one owns a client. No one owns the candidates, okay, that we have in our database. And then we have a couple of folks like me that are able to put together project work. And so we know how to staff those projects, and we have the clout to make sure that they work, even when you have problems with people. So I do think that that's my reputation, that I'm able to make things work very well, or at least I handle it well as my team. I've taught my whole team how to do that. I will say that during COVID, I lost some people who had been with me 14 years, 11 years. And honestly, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I was so distraught over losing them because, you become kind of a family, and they were very productive. But honestly, looking back, the numbers had been going down for a while, and people were getting complacent and not really doing all the things they needed to do. They were comfortable making the salary they made and just didn't want to do more. And now I have people that are hungry to really build out their universe and get the job done, and get the job done with integrity. Yeah.
That's good.
So, yeah.
That's good. All right. And what, everybody's got kind of a sweet spot in the market for the types of customers they work best with. So I wonder what that might be for you. What's sort of the—
Well, honestly, it's just about every company that we've dealt with. I mean, there are probably some people out there who don't like me. I don't care, as long as I do business with this. I lost that. I lost that whole emotional thing a long time ago. But I do think that one of the reasons it does cross over from federal to local government to education to commercial, whether it's casino or banking or what have you, is because we're kind of a one and done kind of company. We don't put a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing on the job. Okay. So, I mean, just today, I was just amazed at, on the staffing side, we had 5 recs that we submitted one person each for, and all 5 people got hired.
Wow.
So, yeah, so I take a lot of pride in knowing what my customer wants, and I take a lot of pride in teaching people not to send them something different. So yeah, I kind of do it a little bit differently.
Okay, interesting. And what's your outreach strategy for finding new customers, and what sort of social media platforms are you active on now?
Oh gosh, I have a gal who handles all the social media, and we're very active on social media now. And I really never did a lot of that before.
Mhm.
Didn't really feel the need, but I see the value of it now, and we're very happy with that. I have a PR company as well, and we make sure that the message gets out there that we're great. We give back to the community. All of my people are encouraged to join some type of activity out there that gives back to the community, especially if it's in IT itself. I've created boards myself. Those are all really great things that you get a lot of good feelings from and giving back to the community, but they also help you from a marketing standpoint. You get to know people outside of selling and buying and all of that, and you become partners with them on initiatives that you're building with whatever situation you're in, be it SIM, PMI, CyberSmart. I mean, there's a ton of them that really are very helpful. One that I really like is I brought a company called Tech Impact here from Philadelphia when we had a Philadelphia office out that way. And they train young people up to the age of 26 and get them certified, 3 certifications for free. They matriculate, I think we just matriculated our 500th student.
Wow.
Since I brought them out here, and that's a wholly different game, in terms of nonprofits and foundations. So I learned a lot from that, but I'm on their national board as well as their advisory board here in Las Vegas. So it's been a real pleasure to work with those folks. They're great.
That's great. Wow. What an interesting story. Well, thank you so much for coming by and letting us know how things have been going. It sounds like you're off to a roaring start for 2023
Oh yeah, we
already.
just got our building. It just closed last week. So now I'm a building owner. I mean, it's just so exciting. Yeah, very exciting, the things that are happening here. And I couldn't be more proud of the team that I have. I'm very excited to move forward with them.
Great. All right. Well, thanks again. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You bet.